Hi, welcome back to the Question Queens. I have a video for you. It is Jordan Peterson mic drops. I just finished one on Ben Shapiro and it was pretty awesome, but I really am excited to see this one. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, could you do that now? And hit the like button too. You can always take it back at the end of the video if you didn't like it, but I have hope that you will. Anyway, let's get right to the video, and thanks for joining me.
Women got full legal rights. They could own property for themselves. They could work. Essentially, they were owned. They were first owned by their fathers and then by their husbands.
Status to the domination by men.
Yeah.
You already said that you thought that what emancipated women primarily in the 20th century was technological revolution.
No, not primarily, but that's one of two. I think there's two things.
It's not primarily, eh?
No,
I don't think the pill was a primary force in the emancipation of women.
I think
or the invention of tampons, let's say, or the provision of proper sanitary facilities, toilets, and that sort of thing. You're thinking instead it was the action of courageous feminists in the 1920s that produced a social revolution that overthrew the patriarchy. That's your theory.
Yeah, I think
that's a foolish theory.
And with regards to 1 in 5 social scientists identifying as a Marxist, you know, there's this professor, I think his name is Wolf. He put a challenge up on YouTube to me a couple of weeks ago to debate him. And what did he say? He said, he criticized my criticism of Marx. He said, well, that Peterson, you know, he's basically stuck in 1989. It's like, we've progressed way past the time of the Stalinists. It's like, and I thought, well, how about if a Nazi said that? Just out of curiosity. It's like, well, it's not 1945, you know, anymore. It's like, us National Socialists, we've progressed way past what happened in Nazi Germany. It's like, we should just, don't be stuck in the past, right? It's time to give us another chance. It's like, well, how about no?
Jordan Peterson,
how about no?
Right? This is what I'm saying to you. Why the rage, bruh?
Bruh?
You're
Why?
doing well, but you're a mean white man.
I have to tell you all this really quick. So I have 4 grandchildren, and my oldest, she had a new tooth coming in, and I was sitting on the floor with all 4 grandchildren, and I was like, did you all see Chloe's tooth come in? And she got real embarrassed, and she went, oh my gosh, bruh. I'm like, I am not bruh. I am grandma. I'm like, okay, I'm grandbruh. So that's what they called me all week. Okay, anyway, I had to tell you about that. Hang on.
Bruh, you're doing well, but you're a mean, mad white man.
Regards to my privilege or lack thereof, I mean, I'm not making the case that I haven't had advantages in my life and disadvantages in my life like most people. You don't know anything about my background or where I came from, and it doesn't matter to you because fundamentally I'm a mean white man. That's a hell of a thing to say in a debate.
That is.
I think more how we raise them, how we live, education, a sort of culture, attitudes form a human being, whether or not they are a girl or a boy when they grow up. Mm-hmm. And if I raise my daughter to become a leader, to be self-confident, to have a high education, for instance, I think she will have a good platform to become a civil engineer, to become a CEO of a company, or to become a nurse.
Well, that is what people who think that the differences between people who are primarily culturally constructed believe, but it's not what the evidence suggests.
Okay.
we're interested in people being able to have different choices and having equality of outcome.
Aha, well, so the overwhelming proportion of people who are in prisons are male. Now, do you want to equalize that, just out of curiosity? What about bricklayers? They're 99% male, and we've got about 3/4 of the population now in universities in the humanities and social sciences are female.
Yeah.
Are we going to equalize that? And men work longer hours. They work more dangerous jobs. They're more likely to move. They're more likely to work outside. They're more likely to participate in jobs in the STEM fields that are scalable. They make more money for those reasons. And that's all hidden under the idea that the reason that men and women make different amounts of money is because of their gender. It's a very simplistic
I just read a paper that said that mathematics is whiteness. I didn't know that mathematics could have a race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the thing is, there's nothing illogical about these claims once you accept the central axioms. The axioms are straightforward. The world is a battleground of power hierarchies. That's what it is. There isn't anything else outside of that. And each power hierarchy generates its own internal narrative, including rules for what constitutes evidence, that support and buttress the structure of that hierarchy. And because the hierarchies exclude, then it's in the best interests of the people who are excluded to invert the hierarchy. And of course, they also regard that as just, even though that's part of the incoherence of the entire argument. That's where they have to turn to Marxism. But make no mistake about it, this isn't accidental. It isn't people misunderstanding what constitutes evidence. Not at all.
How much responsibility do you feel that you have, particularly guys, the alt-right, who, as you say, some of them have enjoyed your work and say, I'm not one of you guys. I'm not with you guys.
They haven't enjoyed my work.
I've definitely read bits
Hold on.
that you have.
Misunderstanding what constitutes evidence. Not at all.
How much responsibility do you feel that you have, particularly guys, the alt-right, who, as you say, some of them have enjoyed your work and say, I'm not one of you guys. I'm not with you guys.
They haven't enjoyed my work.
I've definitely read bits on the internet.
Read more.
The mean man white comment was not predicated upon my historical excavation of your past. It's based upon the evident vitriol with which you speak and the denial of a sense of equanimity among combatants in an argument. So I'm saying again, you're a mean, mad white man, and the viciousness is evident.
Double down.
Okay. Let's reset.
I think I'm going to point out two things again. The first is that my question about when the left goes too far still hasn't been answered. And then the second thing I'm going to point out is that, it's conceivable that I am a mean man. Maybe I'm meaner than some people and not as mean as others. I think that's probably more the case. But I would say the fact that race got dragged into that particular comment is a better exemplar of what the hell I think is wrong with the politically correct left than anything else that could have possibly happened.
Your background, it's pretty earthy. But how did you connect that with your current political perspective? What you said that you became disillusioned with socialism.
I became disillusioned with ideology.
With ideology in general.
Yeah, definitely. That's certainly not something that's changed. I don't like ideologues.
This whole patriarchy thing, I think you have no idea how pernicious and dangerous it is.
Well, no, I don't. I really don't. Go on.
Throughout history have fundamentally cooperated to push back against the absolute catastrophe of existence, a terrible death rate, the probability of chronic starvation, early death, disease, the difficulty of raising children with all the death that was associated with that, and to look backwards in time and say, well, basically what happened was men took the upper hand and persecuted women in this tyrannical patriarchies. It's absolutely dreadful misreading of history. It's a terrible thing to teach young women.
There were some heated moments here. Did that surprise you, that the exchanges that you had with Michael Eric Dyson?
Well, I wouldn't say it surprised me. Well, I suppose it probably did. It just didn't seem like a very good tactical move. And I stand by what I said. I don't see any reason at all that my racial identity needed to be dragged into the discussion independent of my personality.
Your right to freedom of speech trump a trans person's right not to be offended?
Because in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. Look at the conversation we're having right now. You're certainly willing to risk offending me in the pursuit of truth. Why should you have the right to do that? It's been rather uncomfortable.
Well, I'm very glad I put you on the spot. I'm very glad that I have exercised my freedom of speech.
You get my point. It's like you're doing what you should do, which is digging a bit to see what the hell's going on. And that is what you should do. But you're exercising your freedom of speech to certainly risk offending me. And that's fine. I think more power to you as far as I'm concerned.
So you haven't sat there.
He got her.
I'm just trying to work that out.
He got her.
Ha, gotcha.
You have got me.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to work that through in my head.
So when you and, say, Sam Harris argue about religion, you're arguing about fundamentally different things, it sounds like. His conception of what is religious is very different from yours.
Yeah, well, he tends to think of religious thought the same way that a smart 13-year-old atheist thinks about a fundamentalist Christian. It's like, yeah, okay. You're just not getting to the heart of the matter. And I just finished reading all of Sam's books in the last couple of weeks. And as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't ever get to the bottom of the issue. He doesn't address the fundamental thinkers. There are some profound thinkers. Dostoevsky's one, Tolstoy, Nietzsche, Jung. It's like they're completely absent from, and the same with Dawkins. It's completely absent. All that conceptualization is completely absent from their corpus of works. They don't even have an understanding for the psychological utility of religion. And it's a big problem. You know, you don't get to be an atheist when the people you attack are like naive fundamentalists. And I have some sympathy for the naive fundamentalists. It's like what they're basically saying is something like this. Look, we have an ethos that's valuable. You scientist types are casually dismantling it. What the hell are we supposed to do? Well, the fundamentalists don't know what to do about that. So they say, well, creationism is science. It's like, well, no, it's not. But that doesn't mean that they don't have a point. Their point is there's something valuable here. It's like, don't break it casually. What are you going to replace it with? The new atheists wish that everybody becomes rational. It's like, yeah, sure, that's going to happen.
Why do you think it is that so much of what you say is so very popular with the alt-right?
It isn't. And you don't have any evidence for that at all. Any more than the evidence that alt-right people
Daily
watch this show.
Stormer, Neonite website, Savior of Western Civilization.
Oh, well, that was all taken apart today by a number of Jewish publications, by the way, showing that, first of all, that was all satirical commentary on the part of the alt-right, directed at taking me down, for example. And there was an alt-right article yesterday published saying that I was a Jewish stooge and shill. So this is absolute nonsense, and I don't appeal primarily to the alt-right. There's no evidence for that at all. It's the proclivity of...
I never said primarily, Jordan. What I'm interested in is why you think that you get the reaction that you do from the alt-right. Looking at the Cathy Newman documentary.
What reaction?
Interview.
There's 10 million people watched that and commented on it.
I'm talking about what I saw, and I'm curious to know what your reaction was to the glee with which the alt-right seized upon that.
So I don't accept. Should we deal with the death threats? I mean, she had, I think, a dozen.
I don't accept the concept that it was the alt-right that was doing this. There were 10 million people who commented on that video, and about 95% of them commented negatively on Cathy Newman's behavior. You think there's 10 million alt-right trolls watching that?
I hope that if I were a student of Dr. Peterson, that he would refer to me as she and wouldn't have a problem with that. But at the end of the day, a personal pronoun preference still is a preference for what language other people use. And at the end of the day, I don't have ultimate control over what Dr. Peterson, what the language he chooses to use, or anybody else for that matters. That's up to them.
Okay, let me find out then.
Arises,
let me find out. If she were a student of yours, what would you call her? She. You would. Okay.
Well, he uses words that I don't even know, and it's so hard. It's so difficult to keep up with him on some things, but man, is he smart. And I love the way he debates, and he really does, like that one woman, he really got her. I'm going to definitely look into more of his videos, maybe some of the debates that don't go very long. I'd like to see the one where the guy called him a mean white man. I have no idea what they were talking about, but that one looked really interesting. If you have any other video suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll definitely look them up. I'll mention your name, and thank you for the suggestion. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do that now, because I really appreciate it. And hit the like button and share it with your friends. I will see you really soon. Bye-bye.